This is incredible. So this is Bees on his way back from... He just came back from a long night drive from New York. We visited some family in New York, so we're gonna see how tired Bees is affected by the one a night. Ty has historically fucked up the one a night with the Dedede. But I don't know. I don't know what the state of Twisty was during that time versus the state of Ty. So we're gonna see what happens. He's looking really aggressive though. Like he's like. Yeah, this is the problem. I talk with Kate a lot whether or not Dedede is the worst character in the game versus Luigi. There's a lot of talk about who's worse. Kate is very of the camp that Luigi is the worst character in the game. I'm not sure I agree with that because I don't think that Luigi is worse than. I don't think Luigi is worse than Kirby. Well, no, Kirby might be better than Luigi. I don't know, but I don't think Luigi is worse than Dedede. I don't think Luigi is worse than Dedede. I think Dedede might be worse than Luigi. But it's really hard to say. Like, there's not a lot of representation for any of the characters at the bottom because, you know, they're bad or they're boring. Which is it's another funny thing, too. It's like, yeah, Puff. This is a good example. Puff is Puff bad? I don't know. Puff is, like, okay, but, like, also has no representation, except for Twisty occasionally. And, like there's, like, last week or something like that, there were, like, a bunch of people playing Puff and PM for some reason. And I'm like, stop. The only reason I like PM is because Puff is not in the game. No one plays Puff. There's no Puff representation. Because why would you play Puff when you could play any number of more interesting characters? Like even Dedede. I don't know. Kate is strongly of the opinion that Luigi is the worst. At least as far as I remember. I'm gonna ask her before I go around spreading misinformation. Let me ask her first. But I'm like 99.9% sure she said Luigi is the worst character in the game. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Why are people playing Puff? What happened to you where you were driven to the point where you would want to play Puff willingly? You would look at the character select screen and not as a joke, as a purely, completely serious thing, you'd select Jigglypuff at the character select screen. Horrible. Oh my god. Mike's playing... Oh yeah, Mike is playing Puff. That's what I was thinking about. It's not here that there were 3 Puffs. It was Twisty, Mike, and Soulbed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I seriously considered the Kate's opinion, because like Kate usually has a very good explanation for why these things are bad. Oh, I see. Maybe just in town for the weekend. Yes, yeah, so people are thinking about. Yeah, so the number of Puffs might be a somewhat temporary thing. The one night closing out game 1. My power. Yeah, honestly, I think if Twisty closes out game 1, I think it's going to be pretty hard for Ty to keep it together in games 2 and 3. To be completely honest, it's not a factor of Ty. It's a factor of Twisty having downloaded the matchup. Because this is a pretty simple thing. It's a pretty common thing for Twisty to be like to be able to figure people out pretty well. So especially after like the beginning of a decisive game. So I think that also considering that Dedede's gameplay is fairly linear, there's not that many things he can do. So like if he gets you kind of figured out, then your neutral gets way harder, and like he ends up winning far more of the neutral exchanges as a result. Trevor, I think everybody is in fact just going secondaries, which is what I wanted this season to be anyway. I was hoping that this season was going to be just no one ever plays their main, everybody changes their tag, and they all go secondaries, and they form a new persona. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like a whole season of people just doing whatever they want. Oh, a little surprising that option. I was really expecting it for the Dimension Kid. This is another thing we often talk about with we have a lot of Meta Knights here now. So we were talking about like what options are really good with Meta Knight, and these things are becoming more prevalent as more people pick up Meta Knight. So this is like the duality of it, where Twisty will take the efficient and easy option in Nair, where Shade bears everybody, or down airs everybody, which is cooler and more effective when it works, but it's not as reliable. And it's definitely an interesting thing. So like Twisty does this because he's putting in the work to close the game out, and I think that I don't want the gameplay to be homogenized among all the Meta Knight players here, but I do think it's interesting. We see both sides of the coin. We see the going for the most the most effective option, which may be less reliable, versus the option that is more reliable, but not always as optimally effective. Like you can plainly see when Twisty's in edge guard mode, like, or really any other Meta Knight playing the standard Meta Knight game. Why is Moto not in bracket anymore? Moto is not in bracket anymore because he saw that there are 16 people in our PM bracket, and he said, "I do not want to enter the PM bracket." And yeah, we have 16 people at SG today. There's actually a whole bunch of people who have never been here before, who are just sort of hanging out. And actually, GU ran out of loaner GameCube controllers because there were so many new people here, which is so exciting. Like that's so cool. We also have a bunch of actually, so for anyone who's just tuning in, we got a whole bunch of people who haven't been here in a really long time who are here. Obviously Quaff is back in town, so he's around with Twisty. And we also have Damp, who if you remember from back in the day, he was definitely a good player back in the day, and he's a really good player out of WPI. And I think he played Melee as well. But I remember him from PM, and I remember him being like our sort of mid-level boss person, kind of like at like just below Soul level at Venue 1, Venue 2. We also have Boink, who's like one of my favorite people from back in the day. He's a legacy Magic the Gathering player now, and a huge proponent of the Pauper format, or at least for a while he was, and I think also a big proponent of pre-modern, which is if we're willing to talk about Magic, here's a really cool closed Magic format. But he's back. He's here, and apparently he lives really close to the area, so maybe he's going to be coming more often. I'd be really excited to see him. I'd be excited to see all these people coming back doing more stuff. Likewise, it's like, I don't know. I'm just excited to see all these other people here who haven't been here in a while. This is really cool. You did, in fact, see Damp earlier in bracket. And yes, that is the same Damp. He is the same. New people entering is super cool. That's 2-0. There it is. Those are pretty close games, though.